Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, it looks like I've got all the levels going. It's if you're beginning to watch on Facebook, you should be able to see or hear me there. Hello, Karen. How are you? This is meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer, just getting started. We've got less than a minute to go, and we're all set. Just checking the levels right now. I've got to turn on the other streaming platforms. Okay, so we're now on Roku, on Apple TV. So everybody should be happy here, and it is 7:15. So hi, everybody. This is meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer coming to you from the streaming center at Fox 19 Now. This is our live 7:15 streaming show, which we do every Monday through Friday. We also have one that goes on at noon every Monday through Friday, and then over the weekend, we have a 10:15 a.m. live streaming show, both Saturday and Sunday, and a 6 p.m. live streaming weather show, both Saturday and Sunday. Okay, so we're trying to give you as many opportunities to get the weather information you need. This is our tower cam shot. It's in South Fairmont on the west side of I-75. You're looking at downtown Cincinnati on straight line about 4 miles away, and you can see it's a little bit hazy out there, but overall pretty nice evening. You actually see a couple planes or helicopters maybe flying through the area. So overall, pretty nice evening around the tri-state, but we do have a first alert weather day in effect for tomorrow. Temperature at the International Airport, 34 degrees, and as the cloud cover thickens back up, we're going to see that temperature climb again. This is our Mount Auburn camera, so we're in Mount Auburn. As you're looking to the northeast, if you go right down through the center of the screen, you'd end up over the Norwood area. That is I-71 northbound, roads dry, traffic doing well. And one more camera shot. This is our camera over at Turfway Park. Now I've set it up so that I can move it a little bit. I was just looking before at them getting ready to start, set there. Oops, there it is. They've just set the starting gate up, okay? So the horses will come in a few minutes, and then what they do once the horses take off, as soon as the horses are gone, they pull that off to the side so they can run through. I'll see if I can keep an eye on it so that we can maybe catch a little bit of the action. Give me a second here, and I'm going to call something up on my phone, and maybe I'll be able to keep an eye on it there, and when they're beginning to load the horses, we can take a look at it, because it's kind of fun to watch. My father-in-law was a big horse racing fan. He used to go to River Downs once a week or so and watch the horses run. Okay, let me see here. All right, well, I don't have the right one called up on the other, so I'll just try and keep an eye on it and see what happens. All right. Okay, so that is our Turfway Park camera, 34 degrees, and that, of course, is right next to the International Airport. And you can see the guy working on the gates right there. So overall, we've got rain and snow mixed on the way into the tri-state. Temperatures everywhere at or above freezing in the tri-state, and they should hold about that. Road surface temperatures as of this afternoon in the mid-40s. Now, those were bridge deck temperatures. We got enough sunshine to warm them up a little bit. So road temperatures should stay warm enough that all we expect is wet roads in the morning. Now, it is a first alert weather day, and people kind of get confused about this. Sometimes it's just a heads up, and that's what this is. Hey, the roads are going to be wet. It's going to be slow on your way to work and school in the morning. It's a mix of rain and snow, but it won't be icy. Okay, sometimes it's, hey, tornadoes are in the area, take cover. So first alert weather days can range from just a heads up to take cover, and this is just a heads up, so it's not a big deal. Don't like to make it something that it's not. And then take a look at the temperature change since the last 24 hours, and CVG 6 colder, 5 colder in Madison and Batesville and Harrison at Lunken Airport, and about 2 colder in the Wilmington area. The latest wind chill values, not much different than the temperature. The coldest spot up in Richmond, Indiana at 26, 28 in Shelbyville. For the most part, a couple degrees cooler than the temperatures. And look at the cold air that's up there. Okay, it's down to 27 in Des Moines, so it's 7 degrees colder than here. Minneapolis is 24, and it's in the teens in Fargo. So much colder air is on the way. Now, we're not going to drop to high temperatures in the teens. The coldest day looks like it's going to be Bengals Sunday with a high of 31. Okay, there's the cloud cover. It's not going to clear out. We had a few peaks of sun during the day today, but for the most part, cloud cover's here for a while. As we zoom out, you can see there's the precipitation that's beginning to come our way. Now, most of this, as you can see, excuse me, I've still got kind of a froggy voice here because of my cold. Most of this is going to stay across the lakes right here. But if you look closely right here, you can see here along Mississippi River, you can see that that shower line is forming, and that will come our way. That's going to grow as it hits through the night, and then by the time it gets to the tri-state, it's going to be a mix of rain and snow, and in some cases mostly snow, but wet snow falling on roads that are warmer than freezing, so we're not too worried about that. And there you see that line forming as it moves into Illinois. Okay, here's what it looks like. Starting at 11 p.m., temperature's still in the 30s. By about 2 a.m., we might see a few snow showers pop up around the tri-state, but mostly nothing. And there we have 4:30 a.m. You can see, excuse me, the mix of rain and snow moving into the tri-state. Temperatures have dropped to freezing in a few spots, but it's going to take colder than freezing temperatures of the air to overcome the warmer ground. So we're not worried about anything but wet roads. Okay, now watch what happens between 4:30 a.m. and 7 a.m. Watch how this grows as it moves in, right there. Okay, so you can see upstairs it gets a little bit colder. So excuse me a second, I got to take a drink here. Upstairs, above the surface, temperatures have cooled enough that it's making it to the ground in most cases as wet snow only. You can see from Adams County down into the Maysville area, down to Mount Olivet, Brooksville, just changing over to snow. But for the most part, it's going to be more of a snow event than anything else. But wet snow without a great deal of accumulation. By the time we get to 2:30 p.m., most of the steady stuff has moved off to the east, and then it's just down to scattered snow showers as we head into evening, maybe even a few popping up overnight into Saturday morning. But notice the temperatures by Saturday at 4 a.m., they're down into the upper mid-20s to low 30s, and so any spots that don't dry out. Now, the winds will be high enough that the roads will primarily dry out for Saturday morning, but any spot that's sheltered from the wind that may not dry out could develop an icy patch, and that will be isolated, not widespread, just the chance for an icy patch in a few spots around the tri-state. And again, by the time we get to 11:30 a.m., it's in the upper 20s, so we could see a few of those. Now, snowfall totals, this is based on the model, the NAM as we call it, or the North American model. It's done here in the U.S. by NOAA. It says 1 to 1.2 inches, the highest amounts up north, and then maybe a half an inch in other spots. Now, remember on this is wet snow hitting the ground that's warmer than freezing. So the typical situation, roads will be wet. Bridge decks will be just wet also because they're not cold enough for there to be ice at this point. And then in addition to that, the accumulation will occur on branches, on bushes, on grass, on other vegetation, railings and that. And that's according to the North American model. Okay, now keep those figures in mind. Up north, 1 to 1.2, down to the south, an inch or less, centering probably more on a half an inch. Okay, and then if you look at the GFS, which is the global forecast system, it's another model done by NOAA and the National Weather Service that has almost the exact same results. A little bit different, but 1 to 1.2 inches, mainly up in the northeast in this case, a half an inch to 0.8 of an inch down to the south. And so we're looking more than likely at less than an inch of snow in most locations, almost, if not all of it, melting on contact with the roads, and then any accumulations on grassy areas around the tri-state. Okay, so sunset already at 5:18, so the sun has been down for 1 hour and 5 minutes, 2 hours and 5 minutes, excuse me, and temperatures will hang out around 34 from now to 11 o'clock. Sunrise, 7:53 tomorrow. Temperatures drop off to about 32. Now, for some reason, the 34 hasn't updated on this graphic, but I think we're looking at a low of about 32 as that snow begins. And with the warm roads, can't rule out a slick spot, but for the most part, just wet. Okay, so here's what it looks like for the morning commute. Wet roads with that rain-snow mix falling, and that's wet snow. A cloudy, gray, damp start to your day. Temperatures in the low to upper 30s with wind chills in the 25 to 32 degree range. Okay, now when we go to I don't know what's been going on with this. For some reason, this is downloaded from the Climate Prediction Center, this graphic, and this blue is indicating below normal temperatures. This is way above normal. This is above. So this, for some reason, has come from the Climate Prediction Center with the wrong color scheme, but it should be over here. Okay, this particular blue should be over here, and so this is all above normal, coast to coast, including southern Florida, warmer than normal, and that goes through the 29th of December. Okay, so I'm not really sure why that happened. I'll have to correct that here in just a little while. And then, of course, the 8 to 14-day outlook came across with the right color scheme. We've got from December 27th to the 2nd of January, it will be warmer than normal, but there's a caveat here. We're going to start going into a colder spell as we head into the first week of 2025. Sorry, my throat keeps drying out, so I'm trying not to cough, and so I keep taking a little bit of a drink when I'm off camera. This is the one that was issued last Friday. It will be updated tomorrow. And if we go back to the previous one, you'll see that coast to coast, it's warmer than normal. And so it's probably going to be the same temperature-wise at the beginning of January, the first day or so. But by the time we get to the middle of January, I think there are signs that it's going to be significantly colder. Not an Arctic blast that freezes you out, but definitely normal or a little bit below. We'll see what they say tomorrow. And then here's the precipitation outlook from the 25th to the 29th, a little bit wetter than normal in the tri-state. As we head to the 2nd of January, this is doing what I thought it would, wetter than normal over most of the lower 48. And this is the one from last Friday. I think this is going to change. Okay, so let's go back. Here's the one that was issued today for the 27th through the 2nd, and you can see, except for the southwest, the lower 48 near normal or wetter than normal, and it's hard to see how we snap into this pattern. So I'm sure there'll be a big, big change on the precipitation distribution for weeks 3 and 4, which tomorrow when we look at that. Okay, here's your 7-day forecast. Low tonight 34, high tomorrow 35. We might see temperatures drop to 32 a bit. I'm going to have to reevaluate the forecast here because some of the models are beginning to say we'll get enough precipitation cooling to drop us just to freezing. But remember, it takes more than air temperatures below freezing to cause icy roads. Road temperatures are important too, and they're not going to be cold enough. Saturday, winter begins at 4:21 a.m. That's astronomical winter. We've been in meteorological winter since the 1st of December. Mostly sunny on Bengals Sunday, okay, and the same forecast. We think we've got the forecast about right on that, so it's pretty much the same. 20 degrees for tailgating, 27 for kickoff, 31 for halftime. Just need to layer up. No high winds, no precipitation, sunshine out there. So with sunshine and temperatures like that, you should be able to warm up pretty nicely and feel pretty good about being out there as long as you're dressed right. Okay, then Monday, a high of 43, 45 on Tuesday, which is Christmas Eve with some showers. Christmas Day looks wet, not white. We're talking about a high of 48 degrees with scattered showers. And then Kwanzaa, which is Thursday, a low of 41 and a high of 53. So we start a nice warming trend as we head past Christmas. And we've been talking about that for about a week now. Beyond the 7-day forecast looks like this. It goes from the 27th to the 2nd of January. And I talked about that cooling trend. So right there, you see the high of 39 by the 2nd. So we've got highs way above normal, dropping to about normal by Wednesday, the 1st of January. And again, we have showers possible each of those days, and then some colder air comes out of Canada for the 2nd, and that drops our high temperature down to below normal on Thursday, the 2nd. Now, here is what it looks like, that summary graph that shows you the next 14 days. There are the highs, there are the lows, put on the normal lines, and you can see that we've got a stretch of days, quite a few, where it's warmer than normal, all the way from the 23rd through the 1st. By January 2nd, 2025, can you believe it? We're down to just below normal. We're staying above normal, though, by then for beyond the 7-day. And here's your takeaway on this. Warming after this weekend, so I think the coldest day of the next few is Sunday for the Bengals game. And then warmer than normal as we head into 2025. Okay, numerous light rain systems are still possible. Christmas and New Year's travel both look good. and a colder start to 2025. Now, it's going to start on the 1st, obviously, with temperatures above normal, but by the time we get to the 2nd of January, we're going into a colder than a normal pattern. So overall, I think that looks much more like winter. Not a blast of cold weather. We're still looking at the La Nina trying to form, and that's kind of holding off any major Arctic air outbreaks. And as a matter of fact, before we get to comments, let me go to a file here and show you what the jet stream pattern is going to look like, at least for the next 10 days. So let's see here, if I can find it. Excuse me, got to remove my glasses to see what I'm doing here. And so I think we go into, I think we're done with the really warm weather by the time we get to the 2nd of January, and it's going to pretty much stay that way. One more second here, and if I can't find it, I'll just move on to comments. Okay, I can't find it. I must have removed it from the system. So let me go to comments, and then once we get past comments and questions, we can go back to the forecast and summarize that. All righty, so here we are on Facebook. Looks like we got some. All right. Karen Cafazzo says, hello. Hi, Karen. Kathy Scarberry. She remembers me from my Channel 5 days with Tony Sands. Yeah, Tony was my mentor. She wants to know if Tony was my mentor. As a matter of fact, Tony, I watched Tony, oh my gosh, Tony started at Channel 5 in 1954. I was born in 1953, so I grew up watching Tony Sands. And then, give me a second here. And he was the one almost everybody watched because he knew his stuff. Tony was an interesting guy, went to college, got his degree in physics, and during World War II, served as a weather officer and a karate trainer. He had a black belt in karate. So he was my mentor. When I got out of grad school and moved back to Cincinnati, I was teaching school at back then Dater Junior High, and I was watching Tony one night, and he was talking about getting a color weather radar. So I gave him a call, and he let me come down there, and so I worked part-time just helping out for a year, free, and then eventually I got hired full-time. And so Tony gave me my first job in TV, and I'll always remember Tony. Tony was a good guy. I really liked him. All right. Kathy Jackson, hello to you too. Susan Wally, good evening. Hope you're doing better from your cold. Yeah, I am, Susan, a lot better. I still, after talking for a while, my throat gets pretty dry, but I'm doing fine. I felt pretty good all the time, so. Kathy Jackson, now I mentioned earlier that we were looking at the camera at, let me look at that really quickly, see what's going on over there. Camera at Turfway Park. And mentioned that, well, the race has already started. I'll go back to that in a minute. Actually, I think you can probably see it here. Well, let me check. Yeah, you can see it behind me. So the race is already gone, and if you look over here, there's the edge of the starting gate. So they've moved that. And if I do this, let me see what I can do. And I'll get back to you in just a second with that. Okay, so we'll leave it wide like that, see where they're going, and if we were going long enough, we might be able to catch something from one of the races. Okay, back to Facebook comments now. Kathy Jackson said her uncle and dad went to River Downs. Yeah, my wife grew up in Mount Adams when Mount Adams was a kind of a blue-collar worker community, electricians, plumbers, and things like that. And he went, I don't know if it was every week, but he went a couple times a month at least, and didn't bet a lot, just like to go there, watch the horses run, make a bet or two, and have fun. So, so I remember in River Downs, I tell you what, I remember that from years and years ago. All right. So Mike Allen said, hope you've had a good day. I have, Mike. Thank you very much. Oh, okay. Hey, thank you very much, Mike. This is good news. I didn't even know this. He said we are available on Samsung TV as well as like Roku and the other things. So if you happen to be watching and you have access to Samsung TV, you can see this there also. I'm glad to know that. I'm going to put that on our list so we can have a comprehensive list of where it's available. So thanks for the information, Mike. Tina Wolf says, hi from Indiana. She does not want snow. Well, Tina, we're going to have snow, this is the good kind, because even though it'll accumulate on grassy areas, tree limbs and that, it looks like wet roads. And remember what I mentioned is that there'll be enough wind with this, that not extreme wind, but enough wind to dry the roads out along with the traffic. But as we head into Friday evening, overnight into Saturday morning, some of the areas that don't dry out because they're sheltered from the wind may develop an icy patch, but that will be the exception rather than the rule. That's right, Susan. Diet Mountain Dew to the rescue. It's one of my favorite drinks. I used to be a Diet Dr. Pepper fan, and I drank Diet Mountain Dew for years, always. Since I was Mountain Dew before they came out with the Diet. And then Diet Dr. Pepper, and then I just had probably drank too much of that and tried this, and it was a lot easier and not as acidic. So now I'm a diehard Diet Mountain Dew fan. All right. And what did, who was that? Oh my God, the actor that said, "You can pry my gun out of my cold dead hand." Well, you can pry my Diet Mountain Dew out of my cold dead hand. That was Charlton Heston. Charlton Heston. Okay. David Howland says, snowpocalypse? Nah, just wet snow and rain. Wet roads, shouldn't be a big deal. We may have a snowpocalypse this year, but it doesn't look like that's coming soon. Melvin wants to know if it's going to be bad tomorrow. Melvin, I don't think it's going to be bad tomorrow. It's going to be like a rainy day, but it'll be cold enough. There'll be road spray, things like that. And so it'll slow traffic down. It should not come down heavily enough to be a problem anywhere, but any accumulations should be mainly on grassy areas, tree limbs, bushes, railings, and things like that. And then roads will be wet almost immediately, even the rural roads, because roads are pretty warm at this point. As a matter of fact, I can check if you want. Let me see. I will check what the bridge surface temperature is on I-275 over top of the Little Miami River just outside of Loveland. So, okay, it was 45 earlier today, and right now it's 43.7 degrees. So the surface temperature on the I-275 eastbound lane, that's on the big bridge that runs over top of the Little Miami River and that, as you head over into Claremont County, 43.7 degrees. So it's still, it's going to take a lot. It's not going to cool off too much overnight. You're going to need air temperatures much colder than like 32 or 31 even to get it down cold enough to ice over. So that's why we're thinking it's going to be wet. So Melvin, I don't think it'll be bad tomorrow, just wet with that, everybody, and everybody's extra cautious when they see snow coming down mixed with rain or just wet snow only. It's always better to be safe and cautious than it is to say, oh, it's just wet, I'm going to drive like I normally do in rain. But I don't think it's going to be that bad. Jessica Noth, how much snow are we supposed to get tomorrow? Okay, Jessica, I'll tell you what, let me, all right. And I think you can see behind me that we actually do see some horses now. All right. And what I can try and do here, get just a little bit of a sidetrack, make it a little bit more interesting. We can move the camera a bit, tilt it down, and then zoom in. Okay, you're going to get a little bit better idea. These are the horses, I guess, they're either getting ready to run, they've already run, and they've already got their blankets on and they're walking. They may be walking down to the winner's circle. Let me see. Let me rotate the camera around so you can see. Da, 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 da. Okay, we're almost there. Give me a second. Move out a little bit more. It's kind of amazing that I'm standing here in downtown. Yeah, there's nobody in the winner's circle right now. That's the winner's circle right there. So I don't know if they're heading there, if they're just heading to back to put the horses back away after their races. Okay, there we go. Okay, there's some of them. So that's kind of an interesting shot. Okay, what was now I can't remember what the heck I was going to do. Oh, how much snow we're going to have. All right. So let me go back to the snowfall forecast graphic I had, and I used two particular models because they seemed to be they were pretty close to being the same. They weren't much different than any of the other models, and so the key here isn't how much snow we get. And we always talk about that. Obviously, if you get a foot of snow, even if it's a light, fluffy snow, it's going to have a big, big impact. But if it's an inch or two of snow, the amount isn't that important. It's the impact that is. Sometimes an inch or two of snow can be really wet and just wet. Sometimes it can be really nasty and icy. And so that's what we try to emphasize. And here we go. Say goodbye to the horses for a little while. And this will pop up here in a second. Okay, so here is the first model, the NAM. The NAM up there stands for North American model. And it only looks at North America, whereas the next one, the GFS, the Global Forecast System, is a global model, and then they subset that. So this particular model is saying that Connorsville, to Middletown, to Wilmington, Lebanon, Hillsborough, maybe an inch to 1.2 inches, and then as you head southward, less. And so we're thinking centering on under an inch, maybe a half an inch to an inch. And again, remember the road temperatures all over here are fairly warm, and so tomorrow morning should be wet. Okay, road temperatures warm enough, air temperatures at freezing at the coldest, or maybe a degree colder than that, but not cold enough to cause it to freeze on those roads. Okay, so and then here, what did I do? Well, let me try that one more time, and I'll show you the other model. Okay, so and we have a bunch of models that give us this information, and so what we're trying to do here is we try to see what models are showing what kind of precipitation and what kind of accumulations coming down. And in this case, notice this one's not much different. It's got the 1 to 1.2 a little bit farther to the east, still in the northeast, and it's got 0 and 10 at the exact same amount. And then, so we're talking about mostly less than an inch, but maybe 1 to 1.2 in a few spots, and almost everywhere, if not everywhere, the roads are warm enough that it should just melt. Okay, so we're not worried about a big snow event. It's just going to be wet driving around the tri-state. With the exception, I want to make sure you understand that the snow ends during the late afternoon, early evening hours Friday. As we head into the overnight, there should be enough of a breezy kind of condition to help dry the roads out, but any road spots that may be sheltered from the wind, let's say on a hillside, upwind hillside, down in a valley where there's, the wind doesn't blow much, there could be an icy patch developed for Saturday morning, but just a patch here and there. Almost all the main roads will be just fine. Okay, so let me go back to Facebook here. Okay, go back to Facebook on this computer. Got too many buttons to push here. Okay, so back to Facebook. That was so Jessica Noth wanted to know that. Okay, and then Jessica also wanted to know about snowstorms in January and February. Okay, I'm beginning to think we'll probably see some significant snowfalls. And when I say significant, I don't mean something that buries your car or anything like that. I just mean more than an inch or two. And I think there's a very good chance that from the middle of January into the end of February, it's going to be fairly active. And some of those systems that come our way, it'll be cold enough for there to be snow. So I don't think we're going to see any long-term blast where high temperatures go to near zero and low temperatures go to 10 below. Nothing like that is in the cards right now. But a kind of a modified La Nina winter at or a little bit cooler than normal. So near normal or a little bit cooler than normal, more precipitation than normal. And some of that precipitation could then end up being snow. So I think we're going to see several periods of snow from mid-January to the end of February. And that's the way it's stacking up right now. But again, tomorrow, just wet roads. Jeff Beechler, hello, Jeff. I hope you liked what we're talking about with snow. Even though it's not going to stick tomorrow, we got a better chance. There's a nice cooling trend coming our way, and it looks like from the middle of January into the end of February, we've got more chances of getting some of that snow you wanted so much, Jeff. Oh, yeah. Jeff, and he's saying everyone in his house and him are sick tonight. Wish it was over already. I know. I was on vacation for like 10 days, and my wife came home from work one day, and she says, oh, my sinuses, I think my allergies are kicking up, dust or something. Well, by the day before I came back to work, I got it, and so it's not allergies, it's a cold, and it's going around. People all over are getting this little bit of a sickness. Okay. Jevin Hauk says, Diet Dew tastes like vodka, LOL. Okay, I don't see that, but you might think that. So I'll do a compare. I won't do it while I'm at work. I'll do it sometime when I'm at home. We've got some vodka at home. I'll do a taste test and see what I think. Okay, Carol Justice, she said, just turned it on. That was a few minutes ago, 8 minutes ago, it says. Just when are we getting snow? Okay, I'm glad you asked that, Carol. You have the last two, and you're in Bethel. So let's go back to the forecast map here. Okay, and we'll go over the timing on all this. Okay, so let's say I'll put it full screen so you can see it. And I'm just going to run it by hand rather than go into play mode. Okay, so this is midnight, or I'm sorry, this is 11 p.m. So notice no precipitation in the area yet. Okay, as we head to 2 a.m., you can see a few snow showers. Look, see, they may develop Highland County across the north, but just a few actually flurries or something. Shouldn't be a big deal. And then that's right there, that is 2 a.m. Now as we head into the morning commute, this is 4:30 a.m., you can already see a large area of snow and rain mixed moving in from the west. So if you're in Versailles, Batesville, it won't be far out of northern parts of Ripley and northern Dearborn and Franklin County. You can see it's rain here, snow here, but it does become rain and snow only. So and this was just put out by the Weather Service. They think the heaviest snow between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. on Friday, and I'll show you that right now. Okay, so here we go, and I think it'll be more like 7 a.m. But let's go ahead, and I'll go back to full screen, and we can start watching this a little bit further. Okay, so that is 4:30 a.m. Now, usually I have trouble controlling this because it jumps pretty much. It's not really made for going through it by hand, but all right, so if we then drag the timeline slider, you'll see that by 7 a.m., excuse me, almost all of the viewing area is under snow. And so the question was about Bethel. All right, so let me check and make sure I've got so many things going on. Yeah, Carol Justice asked, what about Bethel? I was right, it's Bethel. Okay, so Carol, if you look at this here, this particular model, which has been doing a pretty good job, Bethel's right over here. So this is 6 a.m. So this model says it's not going to get to Bethel by 6 a.m. However, watch what happens as we head towards 7 a.m. We end up with that, well, there's 7:30. So by 7 a.m., if you're in Bethel in the eastern part of Claremont County, okay, so notice it's going over top of Batavia. There the snow. So I'm thinking between 6 and 7 a.m. for Bethel, and then it moves eastward, and by the time we get to 7:30, most of the viewing area is under snow. Now, the Weather Service also has a lot of counties way up north. We're just a small part of their forecast area. And so I'm thinking by 7 a.m., when a lot of us are beginning our morning commute, is when most of the snow is going to be coming down. Okay, and remember, look at these temperatures. 7:30 a.m., 34, 33, 34, 35 everywhere. There's no other temperatures than that. There might be a few spots where it cools off a little bit more, but even if it cools to freezing, it's not going to be cold enough for most of the roads. I just told you the bridge deck temperature on I-275 outside of Loveland was 43.7 degrees, and it takes a lot of cold air to cool that off to cold enough for ice to form. So it looks like wet roads tomorrow morning, temperatures in the mid-30s as you head out the door, and let's see how long that lasts. Okay, so it's snowing, it's beginning to end. By the time we get to 8:30, it's coming to an end in Connersville, still a little bit left in Liberty. Western Franklin County looks like it'll be snow-free. Snow-free by then in Batesville and Decatur County, almost all of Ripley County, most of Switzerland County, and then, of course, Owen, Carroll, Gallatin, Grant, and most of Pendleton County already snow-free by 8:30 a.m. So a lot of it is an early part of the morning commute situation. Okay, and then we're just going to go ahead another hour to 9:30 right there. And you can see that it's still a little bit of snow coming down in eastern Franklin and Union County, but Connersville, Batesville, all of Ripley County, almost all of Dearborn County, with except the area around Lawrenceburg and Greendale, almost all of Ohio, Switzerland, snow-free, Boone, Kenton, Carroll, Carroll, Gallatin, Owen, Grant, and almost all of Pendleton County free with a little bit more rain coming in. And you can see it's moving to the east. So, and it's still coming down in Bethel, okay? So that's 9:30 a.m. So we're talking about 6 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. And then one more shot here by 10:30. Notice most of southeast Indiana, most of northern Kentucky, snow-free, still coming down in the city, Butler County, Warren, Clinton, Highland, Claremont, Brown, Adams. It's pretty much snow-free except for a little bit of southern parts of Bracken County. Mason County still getting a mix. Same thing with Lewis County. Most of Lewis County still getting it, and same with Adams. So that's 10:30. Let's go one more time step here. Let's go to 11:30. It's beginning to wind down in most of the metro area, although it's still coming down from Delhi and North Bend and Delhi on into Claremont County. So Bethel's still getting it. That's at 11:30. Go to 12:30. See, I told you I can't. It jumps a little bit here. So go to 12:30. Still coming down in Bethel. Butler County pretty much snow-free. Same with Hamilton County, same with most of northern Kentucky, although there's some more snow showers beginning to pop up here. So once the main area of snow gets through, there's always some instability in behind a lot of these storms, and sometimes that instability is enough to set off some more snow showers. So you've got some more snow showers coming in here. These are with an upper level disturbance, and so we're talking about, even though the snow has ended for Connersville, Liberty, Brookville, Batesville, we may see some additional snow showers develop. They're brief. And I don't think they're going to be enough to be called snow squalls, but can't rule that out. And okay, and the main problem with snow squalls on a day like this is, notice air temperature still above freezing, ground temperature still above freezing. So even if you get a quick burst of snow in a snow squall, it'll come down, it'll melt pretty quickly. So there might be a few minutes where it's slushy before it melts off. Okay, so that is 12:30. Okay, then as we head over to, let's just stop it at 2 p.m. You can see there's still more coming in. The whole storm system is doing this. It's rotating like this. I guess I stood in the way when I showed you that. Let me do it again. It's rotating like this. So a lot of what you see up here is going to rotate back down through. Man, I tell you, I'm going to kill myself on these on the things that are holding this monitor up. So it's going to rotate back around like this, and so we will see some spots go back into it. So once the main area of snow forms, there might be a few minutes every once in a while where some snow continues to come down. So that takes us on into the afternoon. So I'm thinking that most of us see snow most of the day. And then, and again, it's pretty light. It's nothing really heavy. By 2:30 p.m., it's just from Warren County to Clinton to Highland into northern Adams with a few snow showers elsewhere. And then as we head into the evening, it just kind of dies out. But we're still not done. We could still see a few more snow showers pop up until early Saturday morning, according to this model. So that's that. Okay, now, people want to know how much. You've got a good idea on the timing now. Looks like most of the day, some light, wet snow is going to be coming down. This particular model is the NAM, okay, the North American model, and you can see that it says anywhere from 1 to 1.2 across our northern counties and northeast, okay, everybody else an inch or less. And again, the important factors here, when the snow's coming down, it's falling on roads that are warmer than normal, air temperatures are warmer than normal, so it melts. But when you get accumulations, grassy areas, bushes, tree limbs, your deck railing, things like that will get snow. Okay, so this particular model says 1 to 1.2 across the north and the northeast, so right up in here. All right, now if we go to the next model, okay, this is the GFS. Now that first model was more of a localized model. This one is more of a global model. And so they look at things differently, but they both pretty much agree. Now it's saying that not 1 inch up here to the northwest, but 1 to 1.2 inches from central Claremont County over to the Hillsborough area, maybe in the northern part of Adams County. So again, no matter where it is, it's going to melt as it hits, and it looks like a wet situation more than a snowy, icy situation, which is good news. Okay, let me go back to the rest of the forecast here. And if you joined late so you can see what the rest of the forecast is, and we'll just start off with this evening. Excuse me, Diet Mountain Dew to the rescue one more time. And then I'll give it to you full screen here. Okay, so the evening forecast looks like this. We are talking about temperature right now 35. It'll bounce up and down a little bit over the next couple hours, but we should be somewhere around 34 by 11 p.m. Light winds, so not much of a wind chill. Okay, and then overnight, we're looking at a low. Now, again, I don't know why this got out of sync. But we're thinking the low of 34. However, there will be some spots where it hits 32. And again, the important thing here is, remember, even if it hits 32, which is freezing for water, because the roads are warmer, quite a bit warmer than that, we'll still end up with a wet situation. We're not looking at a situation where there's going to be enough cold air to cool the pavement off to cause icy weather for driving. So for your morning commute, roads will be wet with rain, snow mix falling. I should have said rain, wet snow mix falling. It'll be cloudy, gray, and damp. Wind chills 25 to 32 and actual temperatures in the low to upper 30s around the tri-state. The Climate Prediction Center says, now again, I don't know why it came when this is automatically generated and when it downloads the data, and so I don't know why the color scheme here is wrong, but this should be in the warmer than normal category or above normal from coast to coast. So from Christmas Day to the 29th, we are looking at weather warmer than normal, stays that way through the 2nd of January, and this graphic will be updated tomorrow. It says through the 16th, it should stay warmer than normal. Ethan Emery and I were talking about this in quite a bit of detail, along with Catherine Bodak this afternoon, and we think that's going to change. We don't think we're going to see warmer than normal weather from coast to coast, except for the southeast. I think there's going to be either near normal or a little bit below normal as we head to the middle of the month. We'll just have to see how that works out. Okay, and then precipitation-wise, notice we're in the above normal category, not a lot above normal, but we also mentioned that we have the chance of rain for a pretty good stretch of days in a row as we stay with wetter than normal conditions through the 2nd of January, and then this goes into a drier pattern, but this is also updated. This is the one that's only done once a week. It'll be updated tomorrow from the Climate Prediction Center. And I'm not so sure I disagree with it. I think it's going to be more near normal than anything because we have near normal or a little bit above normal through the 16th of the month. So your 7-day forecast looks like this. 34 and 35 for tomorrow. It's the first alert weather day. Saturday, 4:21 a.m. Get up and say hello to astronomical winter. It starts at 4:21 a.m. 26 and 33 for the low and high. Mostly cloudy, mostly sunny for Bengals Sunday. Good news for Bengals fans. We are talking about chilly weather, but with sunshine, without a lot of wind, with no precipitation and all that sun. It'll be cold, but it should be nice for football. Tailgating 20, 27 at kickoff, 31 at halftime. All right. And then when we head through the rest of the 7-day, notice the warming trend from 43 on Monday to 45 on Tuesday, which is Christmas Eve, and showers. Christmas Day, no white Christmas this year. It looks like showers with a high of 48. And then 53 on Thursday, the 26th, which is Kwanzaa. And so we are way above normal by then. When we get to beyond the 7-day forecast, you're looking at low temperatures above normal until we get to Thursday, the 2nd of January. Okay? And low temperatures go back down to about normal by the time we get to the 2nd, but they're still above normal. And notice each and every one of those days, except for the 2nd of January, has the chance for some showers. So New Year's Eve, maybe some rain showers. But again, the takeaway on this, the really good news about all those days with showers and those temperatures warmer than normal, is that for those of you that are traveling for the holidays, not just Christmas, but also for the New Year's holidays, right now travel weather is looking pretty good. I don't see any major problems unless you're going to Seattle, Portland, Oregon, San Francisco, where the weather up that way is going to be quite a mess right on through the holidays. Okay, so then let's go to the summary graphic. And here you have the 7-day plus, gives you the next 14 days. Notice high temperatures stay above normal until the 2nd. Low temperatures stay above normal but get closer to normal by the time we get to the 2nd of January. And again, with possibility of rain many of those days in the last 7 especially. So the takeaway from this 14-day forecast is we have warming in the forecast after the weekend. It'll be warmer than normal as we head into 2025. Numerous light rain systems are possible, but no big winter storms coming our way. It just does not look like any big major storms here. West Coast is different. So if your Christmas or New Year's plans have you traveling to the West Coast, be aware you might end up with some big delays. And then even though the 1st of January is a little bit above normal, it's going to be colder by the time the 2nd. So this year actually starts a little bit warmer than normal, but it ends up going into colder than normal weather. So that's that. Let me check Facebook one more time, and then I got to, it's 8 o'clock already. I get moving. Got to get moving here. See if anybody else has made any comments. Okay. Van Johnson says, I'm ready for spring. You know what? Here's what we say in the weather office here at Fox 19. There's no bad weather, just different kinds of good weather. And every rule has its exceptions. Of course, tornadoes aren't good weather. Things that cause destruction aren't good weather. But if it's cold and snowy, I like it. If it's hot and humid, I like it. I just like any kind of weather. However, sometimes I get tired of it, and it's time for spring. Like in Van Johnson's case, he says, ready for spring. Yeah, I'm anxious for a little bit more winter before that. So that's it. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow at 7:15 again. Starting at noon tomorrow, it will be meteorologist Catherine Bodak with the noon show, streaming show. And then Saturday and Sunday mornings, it'll be meteorologist Ashley Smith at 10:15 a.m. Sunday and Saturday evenings, or Saturday and Sunday evenings, it'll be meteorologist Ethan Emery at 6 p.m. with his streaming show. You can catch those the same places you catch this. And once again, welcome to anybody that's watching on Samsung TV. I'm scrolling back here to see who gave me that good information. Oh, yeah. So that was from Mike Allen. Mike, thank you very much for that information. And see more. Okay, so Samsung TV also carries this, so if you have that capability, you can watch it there too. Thank you. Have yourself a nice evening, and I hope to see you tomorrow.